Fade me in, baby.
Hey.
Hi. That's my favorite part,
Hey
by the way.
there. Hey there. Hi there. Ho there.
Ho, ho.
Well, tonight we have a very special guest.
We do. Welcome to our new set, by the way.
Can I see that?
Yes, this
Thank
is
you.
your job. I just sit here and look pretty.
Yeah, I like the set way better.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to make a couple of adjustments, so bear with me.
Yeah, as we make like a bunch of noise.
Sorry about that. Can you maybe turn that on quiet time?
Okay, sorry. My bad. I don't know what to do with like something's not right. It's like
You need to pin it to yourself. Maybe you just took all the cords with you there. We're going to have to start this over. Here you go.
No, it's fine. I'll fix it. It'll be fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Something's still eating the table.
Yeah. So tonight's guest is, would you like to introduce her?
Why don't you do it?
Tonight's guest is Hannah. Say hi, Hannah.
Hi.
Can we take the Powerade out of the shot? Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? Oh, it's me.
What is this?
All right, I will sit this way. Well, this will be funny tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we going to be talking about tonight?
I think that's up to Hannah. So we're only doing a 2-camera shot tonight.
Yes.
So,
But I
and
like it.
doesn't that look sweet? Do you like where I put your guitar?
I feel like I'm sitting, like, I'm hovering, because you can see your chair.
Yeah.
You can see your chair, but you can't really see my chair.
No. What do you think about the mics?
I'm going to have to adjust. And this one over here.
Sorry.
What the problem is?
What the problem is? She's in another room trying to adjust her mic.
Okay, I'm done.
Should be right in a minute.
I'm done.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I very much appreciate this. Like,
Isn't
I
this
did
better?
tighten
this is so much better.
It's better than sitting on the couch. Like the couch is nice.
Okay, there are moments where I'm going to want the sofa, which is why we're going to do a complete relayout of the studio.
Remodel. Take
of the studio.
5.
Pick 5 of for sure.
Sorry, like I told you, it'll eventually all be black.
Like my soul.
Oh yeah.
I'm dead on the inside.
What does that feel like?
Oh, I love you so much. You tell me what it feels like.
Ooh. Sounded like a challenge.
We're going to scar our child.
I hear these comments all the time.
No, you don't. This never happens. So Hannah.
So dumb.
I hear you got some stuff you want to get off your chest.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Not exactly like get off my chest, just like put out there.
You just want to air it out?
Yeah.
Well, send it.
Is it going to send Dad's nostrils a flaring?
Full send. I can't even see her. I have to.
No, like I can't even see your head.
Oh. No, he's like, because he can't look at you and talking to the mic, he's got to look at the monitor is what he's saying.
I can't look at him.
It's actually going to work well for my shot.
It is.
Whenever I set the cameras back up for the three-way.
Oh, yeah. For the...
No, we're not pineapple people.
This is so awesome. I really appreciate this.
Maybe we just need a third chair.
I was going to say, I almost feel like I want to get two more of these.
Set them across.
And
two more cameras.
And 2 more cameras and do away with the desks.
Okay. Save that for another episode.
All right.
Yeah, this is Hannah's time to talk.
Yeah, lady.
You wanna fade her in, baby?
Fade me in, Hannah.
I can't.
Tell your story, girl.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start at the very, very beginning?
I feel like it starts when I was 11.
I was going to say, do you want to go back to 11?
I feel like that's when everything like just fell apart. I feel like it snowballed for so long.
Okay.
Explain.
Just living in that household of eggshells and I don't know how to say this word. Like the unsteadiness I felt just because of one person. And the constant, you don't feel that. You're not allowed to feel that. I didn't make you feel like that. Caused me to attempt suicide when I was 11.
Yeah. And just so that we are clear this evening, and I say this evening just because it's evening for us when we're recording this, just so that we're clear this evening, I do not want anyone to think that this is I am leading her in any sort of way. I contemplated not even being in here for this recording because I don't want anyone to come back to her and say, oh, your mother makes you say this or that, because she's already so defensive about her story anyways. And so I contemplated not being here. And so don't take my silence as a not believing her truth or her story or acceptance of her story or anything. My silence is so that she feels comfortable in telling her story and that she knows that she has a space, and that I didn't also not want to sit in on it because I didn't want her to feel like I didn't care and that she didn't matter. So I want everyone to know ahead of time how ultra sensitive and aware of this particular subject I already am.
Yes. Is there anything else you want to clear up?
No, I think that pretty much sums it up. How do you feel about my statement?
I feel like it's spot on.
Okay.
I would like to clear up that I'm not Hannah's biological father. Y'all don't know this already.
Yeah.
I call him dad, though.
But she does call me dad, yes.
Yeah.
So when she says when she's referring to him, it's not me.
Yes. And so, yeah, I just, as she tells her story and she asks for reassurance or, whatever may transpire through this conversation, because this was not pre-thought out. There was no pre-conversation between her and I. Yeah, this
was very much, we're making dinner tonight, and she said, can I do a live? Sure, why not?
Yes.
She's old enough.
Yeah.
She can tell her story.
Absolutely.
So, here's to you.
So 11, walking on eggshells.
It wasn't just home. It was going to school. I wasn't accepted at school. I wasn't accepted at home. I remember telling my 5th grade math and science teacher that I tried to commit suicide. You know what she said?
No.
Well, you're stupid enough to listen to the people on the bus.
It sounds like a response of someone who isn't trained on mental health in the youth. But I also understand what she was trying to convey to you in that same sentence.
I understand what she was trying to convey. It's just, don't convey it in those words. But when I told my English teacher, Miss Bosch, I will always remember her. I said, I'm going to be leaving school. And she was like, do you mind if I ask why? She was like, you've been out of school for like 4 weeks now. And I was like, can we go to a separate room right quick? And when I told her, she bawled. And she was like, my dad tried to do that when he was diagnosed with cancer. So it connected with her for a different level. And she just like sat there and just like held me in her arms.
Yeah. Then there are, very special educators that can make that connection and bond with kids. And I'm grateful for each and every one of those that have touched your life.
Me too.
And I am very aware of the impact that our teachers can have, and whether they choose to use that positively or negatively affects children for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Why are you looking at each other?
Just trying to figure out why he moved the tissue box with his foot.
In the shot.
Oh.
All I can see was this little tissue at the top.
Mm-hmm. So that was at 11, and you left school, and then where'd you go? Do you want to talk about that night? What happened? Do you want to go through all of those steps?
Yeah. I mean, that's my entire story.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make sure they're not in the shot.
You might need them. I don't know.
I'm sweaty. The breakdown started when I got off the bus.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't home yet,
Mm-mm.
but I remember you got home earlier that day.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you wouldn't have got home earlier that day, I wouldn't be here, to be honest.
Yeah. God and I have had that talk.
And it was me and Haley home alone because we rode the same bus.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what happened that day. I don't remember. But I remember breaking down on the couch, and you came and just sat next to me and held me. And then after I kind of just settled down a little bit, Bio Dad came home. And as soon as he gets home, everybody just like runs. Everybody runs to a different room. You don't know what mood he'll come home in. You don't know what he's going to say. And I ran to my room, and I had a room in the back corner at that time. And so he came home, and he just started screaming. I don't remember what it was. It was just, I was so fragile that day. And then your dad comes home and screams at you for no reason because his boss is pissed off at him for something. Or the chick he worked with did something wrong. I forgot what her name is, but he talked about her all the time. Or he complained about how you made dinner wrong. There were so many times where he would complain about dinner, and in my head I'm like, then you make it. If she didn't cook it right, then you get off your butt and make something. Just the feeling of not being enough to anyone just hurt a lot. And
Can I pause you for a second?
yeah.
Are you going to be able to make it? Or are you going to need to step out?
Be all right.
Okay.
Play?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think y'all were in your room and the door was shut. The house was dark and quiet.
We were in the shower.
And I shut my door.
And through your door, through our bedroom door,
Through the entire house.
and the way that our house was set up, you were in the back corner, through down a long hallway. Then it was the living room,
the kitchen,
the dining room, kitchen, the laundry room, our bedroom, and then the bathroom. Like if there were complete opposite corners of the house. And so between all of that space, the bedroom door and the bathroom door, it was this blood curdling scream that never stopped. And that's what I remember from that day. And
I sat there begging you to let me kill myself.
Mm-hmm. You did. I remember the doorway. I don't remember going from one side of the house to the other, but I remember your doorway. And I remember your pink comforter. And I remember your pillows. And I remember just how lifeless you were on the bed. And I remember consoling you and holding you. What do you remember?
I don't remember a lot.
You don't?
I remember you sat at my feet.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the last thing I remember. And then either that next day or the day after that, I was admitted to an outpatient hospital.
Yeah. So would you want me to help you fill in the gaps? So that next day, I consoled you. We cleared your room, took everything out of your room that was concerning. And then we I don't even think I should say we.
I wanted to clear that up. We or you?
Yeah. I called that next morning. I called the pediatrician, made an appointment at the pediatrician's office. We met at the pediatrician's office, went over everything that we had experienced that night. And then they told us that we needed to go to Cook's. So it was me and Hannah. I dropped Haley off. I believe Haley was at her Mother's Day Out program that day, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just you and I. And so we went from the pediatrician's office to Cook's. Cook's did an emergency psychiatric evaluation. They put you on the list for
Innovations.
No, they put you on several lists.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Innovations particularly. And we toured. So once I went through all of those steps, and then I was like, hey, once I went through all those steps, I took the information back to James. It was like, this is what we need to do. And he went and we toured, I think, 2 out of the 6 that were on the list. And so the 2 that we toured were Cook's Children's Mental Health, which is inside the hospital. It's still a day program, but it's in the hospital. And then we toured Innovations. And I believe you were with us for the Innovations tour.
And I was with you for the Cook.
Were you? I couldn't tell if we remembered or not. There are some things that I remember and some things that my brain glitches out on. So, and then it was a 6 weeks of waiting. And it was right around the spring break time that all this went down. And so I pulled you out of school, and the nurse, okay, and this is horrible, absolutely horrible, which is part of the reason why we left the district that we were in. But the nurse, whether she's allowed to tell me this or not, at Cook Children's told me that you were child number 6. You were the 6th child that was seen in the past 2 weeks from that school district, from that particular school. Number 6. And then the doctor told me that under no circumstances should you be allowed to walk back in that district within those halls. And that if you did, I might as well pick out your casket. So I made the choice and decision that I'd be damned if you went back to that school. So I pulled you out of school and you went to work with me every day because you had to be under watch. Do you remember James and I doing watch? So somebody was asleep and somebody was awake. Whether you were sleeping or awake, somebody was.
I remember taking my medicine one day,
Mm-hmm.
and Holly asked me.
Mm.
We were in Springtown,
Mm-hmm.
and we were in the laundry room because I had to take my medicine in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, Hannah, what's that medicine for?
Mm-hmm.
And I just sat there speechless because I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
I don't think an 11-year-old, that's almost Harley's age.
Yeah.
Wanting to commit suicide.
Yeah. Ready to check out.
And then
what at home didn't make you feel accepted? Like what?
The fact that it was never home. Home is where the heart is. But that was just a building. It was a building with my family in it. And I felt that I had to protect Haley and Harley for the simple fact, while I was getting beaten, you couldn't do anything because he would turn around and do the same thing to you.
Mm-hmm.
You had to sit there and watch. Haley, I remember one time, Haley and Harley watched out the door of the class and just sat there and cried.
Mm-hmm.
I sat there and begged for my life.
You also begged for it to be ended. If you hate me so much, please just kill me. But this was not at 11. This was...
Started at 13.
Yeah.
And from 13 to 14, almost 15, he started calling cops on me. You remember those? He made you call the cops on me one time for things I wasn't even doing.
Can you explain those things?
One, I feel like several of the times she's trying to kill herself. Oh my God, she's doing it in front of me. That was one of the calls.
That never happened.
No. I was sitting in the barn dominium and I was speaking what happened and how he made me feel, and me and him were just going at it. I was screaming, he was screaming. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and then the terms out of his mouth were, "I wish you just would."
And another time, excuse my language, but he said, "I just want to fucking hurt you."
I remember those words being spoke to me as well.
But yeah, he's such a great father.
So that puts us at age
14.
So we're at 11. We are in innovations the first time. How long is the treatment?
6 weeks.
Who takes you?
Mom every day. And the after school bus van thing would drop me off at your work at Mansfield.
Was it really my office that dropped you off? Because I thought I had to pick you up in Springtown.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the second time. First time you had to pick me up at the gas station.
That's right. Yeah, that was the pickup and the drop-off location
Yeah.
for Springtown. That's how much of a mental health crisis that district was having at the time. They had a designated pickup location for Springtown.
What is bus van man?
Busman. Okay, so Innovations had a shuttle service because
they understand parents can't.
Because for us, we were in Springtown and the location you were going to was over off of Camp Bowie, and we were in Springtown. So if you're in DFW, like, you understand this geographical that I'm telling you. But essentially, for us to go from where she needed to go to where we lived
it's a long ways.
It was 45 minutes. Yeah, it was 45 minutes. Yeah, and then we still had one that was in a part-time kinder program.
Haley.
And then Harley was at home with me. And so she needed to go to her. So like they had the shuttle van had a designated pickup spot in Springtown at the gas station where they would load, I think it was 5 kids that were from Springtown that were going to this mental health facility to get better. And that's the crisis that Springtown was having. So I think that had Hannah had a place, whether a home was safe or school was safe, we could have avoided the breakdown, but it's the fact that she was unsafe in 2 places.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily blame.
So what? Let's back up.
Yeah.
Let's rewind a little bit.
Sure.
So what led into all of this?
So the bus was a big part of it, from my understanding. So what I don't agree with Springtown ISD is that your intermediate school, your middle school, and your high school all ride the same bus together. You're not allowed to go to school together. You're not on the same campus together, but we're going to put y'all all on the same bus. Makes not a damn lick of sense to me. So
is it that small of a town?
Yes.
Yeah.
The population.
Everybody fits into one bus?
I mean, not one bus, but
the population's 1,000.
I don't even know what the population of Springtown was when we were there, but it was not a lot. It has grown. Yeah, absolutely. But it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why would you not put your elementary students with your intermediate students and then maybe your middle school with your high schoolers? That I get, but you're going to make it just made absolutely no sense to me. But ultimately what happened was I believe there were middle school or high school boys that were just assholes, and their parents were completely
checked out.
And they would tell, ultimately, I think what drove you that day to have your 100% breakdown, and what I remember you telling me, is that the boys on the bus told you that you were worth nothing and that your mom's not going to be home when you get home. So just go ahead and kill yourself.
So were these high school kids?
I don't remember. Springtown's very much a fog for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah. And then Ariel being the issue that she was.
I can't stand her.
Well, and what I hated is that the district did absolutely nothing. I mean, we were able to show bruises on your body to the actual district, and the district did absolutely nothing.
No, they didn't.
Not a damn thing.
I remember the story you told me. It was another kid who was getting bullied, and he was having pencils stabbed in his back.
Yeah. Yep.
And again, the district did nothing.
Nope. But you know what I did?
Mm-hmm.
It's where my public speaking career began.
Yeah, I believe that.
It's actually posted on Facebook if you scroll far enough down.
Yeah, it is. You could even go to the Springtown, I think it's the Springtown Gazette, and there's a whole article with my speech that I gave to the school board. I lit into their ass. Got them a lot of publicity they weren't bargaining for.
Yeah, as you should have.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah. And they invited me for a very short time to be on the anti-bullying campaign, and then they reneged their invitation.
Why is that?
I think they were scared of the repercussions of me. I mean, I was a caged pit bull in that arena, and I was not going to back down, and my words were sharp, and the delivery was on point. And I don't regret anything that I said. And to this day, I don't regret anything that I said. And I went, and there again, that's another instance where it's like I went by myself to speak for our child. It wasn't like we went to speak for our child. I went to speak for our child.
So he didn't go to support you or
He
her.
actually spoke against her.
Did he?
Yeah.
Do tell more.
You were on, I was at Nani's.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of us were at Nani's.
Mm-hmm.
And I FaceTimed you, and I was like, I miss Mom. I'm going to FaceTime her.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what are you doing? And you're like, going to a school board meeting. And I didn't really know anything about it up until that FaceTime. And then in the background, he was like, no, you're not. You're not going. You were in the bathroom getting ready, and he was like, you're not going.
I went.
You did.
Tell me I'm not going to speak up.
So you want to get into the school board meeting?
So the school board meeting, they don't even have like an admin building. That's how tiny the school district was. The school board meeting is held in the library at
one of the schools.
I think it's the high school. I think, if I remember correctly, because I remember sitting in the high school parking lot. What are you doing? Oh. I remember sitting in the high school parking lot and just typing out. And I bet if I go into my notes in my phone, I can actually I bet I could find the speech that I wrote to the school board. I bet I could find it. All right, yeah. So if you guys, here we go. I will just read you the speech that I gave because I typed it before I gave it. It said, on Monday, February 26th, I was putting my child to bed when I had to pick her up off the ground. She was having a breakdown. She couldn't hide what was happening anymore, and she finally opened up about what she had been happening to her all year. She had been riding the bus all year up until that point, and she was getting bullied by 2 middle school boys on the bus. A small portion of what my daughter heard was, you are worthless, you are stupid, you need to take advantage of your parents not being home and kill yourself. You just need to die. You're better off dead. My child wanted to die, and she begged and pleaded with me to let that happen. That next day, Tuesday, I went to SIS, which is Springtown Independent School, Springtown Intermediate School, looking for help. I spoke with a counselor who took down the names of the children and called the middle school, and they said that they would address it. I got a phone call later that afternoon that they were going to discipline those boys or remove them from the bus. They instead put a bus monitor on to watch the boys on the bus. Instead of removing them, they were then monitored. Your district temporarily changed. That's an interesting subscription that just came across. Sorry.
That was me.
Oh, that was you? Okay. Sorry.
I watched him press the button.
I got a phone call later on that afternoon that they weren't going to discipline the boys or remove them from the bus. Instead, they were going to put a bus monitor on to watch. Your district temporarily changed the behavior of the boys and wanted my child to ride the bus and report back to the counselor if it was happening or not. That is not okay. You can't expect a victim to report their findings. Riding the bus is a privilege, not a right. The next Wednesday, it wasn't better. Bullying at the SIS campus happens. Rumors started about my child, and she went to tell the counselor, and the counselor to my daughter's face said, I cannot help you. A child has expressed, I am ready to die and no one will help me, is what I am told by the school district staff. We cannot help you and we won't make the other students stop. The bully, who she has not been able to escape from, has been bullying her for 3 years. I have begged for help from the Goshen principal and have gotten no follow through. So Goshen was the name of the elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, I had my child at Cook's for fear of losing her. The nurse who saw us said, did you know that you are number 6? Your child is number 6. We have seen 6 from SIS because of the unresolved bullying. They pointed me to where I need to take my child for help. We got my daughter into a program and she was finally able to get the help, not from you and not from your district. Your district has such a problem that the program we got our daughter enrolled in has a dictated pickup and drop-off location in Springtown. We paid out of pocket $485 a day for my daughter to finally be okay. We have sold our house, uprooted our children, and your school district almost took one of my children, and your district will not have a second chance at my other children. When my daughter graduated her program, they told me under no reason should she go back to Springtown schools. Sharing my story, I have found that your problem is bad. You have a faculty that won't even send their own children to this district. Okay, so the principal from Goshen actually was one of my high school teachers in Mansfield. So her and I had a connection, and she was open enough to tell me that she wouldn't even send her own child to the intermediate school.
Really?
Yep. So she chooses homeschool over sending them. Your district has a problem, and I almost lost my child because of it. You will have a loss if you don't correct it. My daughter knows 3 other kids who have been pulled out of your school because of bullying. I saved my child's life. Your district got lucky for the fact that my husband and I had the resources to save her life. You have parents who didn't and won't have what my husband and I are blessed enough to have. And when that happens, you will have a loss of life. After all this was done, and I pulled my child out of Springtown district, I had a Springtown staff member tell me maybe Springtown ISD wasn't for me. You're absolutely right. Springtown ISD and that staff member were not for us. And I dropped the mic. That was a speech I gave.
That was a good speech.
It's not perfect, but I was pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I reamed him pretty good. I felt like I did anyways at that point in time. So we removed our children from Springtown. We bought a piece of land in Burleson, and we lived in a camper.
The one we just sold.
The land, not the camper. We moved into a camper. So we did have to pay a large chunk of money up front for that particular program. Insurance and mental health coverage just don't go far. So, and then you have to pay I think we ended up paying $6,000 just to get you started. Mm-hmm. And then they bill insurance and you have to pay the rest. So yeah. And we moved into a camper. There were 5 of us in a 30-foot camper.
And a dog. Don't forget Muggs.
Yeah. Yep.
Muggs was my happiness.
Same.
Even though she smelled really bad.
That was her wrinkles, man. She can't.
Hannah, it's your day to clean the wrinkles. Oh my God. The wipes smelled worse than her wrinkles then.
Yeah, they were special vinegar face wipes. Medicated wipes for...
Gross.
And then we had to clean her ears twice a week.
Yeah. I mean, she was an English bulldog. What did you expect?
She was old. She was 14? 13?
She was 12 when she passed away. But not that she passed away, but it was time.
It was so sad.
Mm-hmm. So we moved into the camper. Then what?
Oh. I feel like we moved into the house Memorial Day weekend.
It was exactly 365 days we lived in the camper.
Yes. And then... So... After I finished my program, we were there for the last 30 days of school in Burleson.
Correct.
Me and Haley went to Stribling, which is a STEAM school.
Yes.
Harley went to work with you still, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. And then the next following year, I started Kerr.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did really well at Kerr. Like, if you look at my grades...
Your memory and my memory are two totally different things on that aspect.
Look at my report card.
Look at my report card.
I'll phase you out, baby.
Look at my report card.
Look at my report card. I said it again.
It's fine.
Look at my report card from KMS, 6th grade. It's in Skyward. I look at it and I'm like, I did so good. And then you look at my grades now and I got barely 4 credits this year.
So 6th grade wasn't that big of a deal.
And then 7th grade started.
Something about living in that camper kept you straight.
We're not moving into a camper.
No, I'm not telling. I'm not
going to
saying.
guess the fact that everything and everybody was so close and very closed off.
Uptight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And eggshells, I'm sure, were cracking.
Yeah, for sure. You want to tell the laundry story?
Oh, me and Mom, Haley, and Harley were all going to go on a road trip and see the Loonies. Teresa. It's been forever since we've seen them. We need to go back up there.
I mean, I just saw her, so.
I need to go up and see Katie, okay?
Yeah.
And so we lived in the camper, so we had to go to the laundromat and get our laundry done, right? And we didn't have any clothes to pack. All we had was uniforms at the time because that's all Burleson had.
That was the dress code, yes.
That was the dress code. So we were like, we need 2 pairs of clothes for weekends. Like, we kept very, very bare minimum. So we found some clothes in some boxes, but they weren't clean. And he was like, well, you can't go on a trip if the clothes aren't clean. And it was just, I can still feel the vibrations in my body that I felt through the wall during that argument. And I remember you slamming the sliding door shut, starting your car, and leaving. And in that moment, I said, is Mom coming back? Because that's not the first time you were forced to leave.
Right.
And it's sad that your kid is going to need to ask, is Mom coming back?
Yeah, I've actually had a kid ask me that.
But sitting in a room with 2 younger siblings, I said, I'm okay. Are the younger 2 okay? Harley was underneath me bawling into Hemo. And Haley was like...
Hemo is a stuffed animal.
Hemo is a wolf we got from Great Wolf Lodge like 7 years ago.
It's been longer than that now.
Oh my god. Hemo is Hemo. Like, I'll be like, is this Hemo? No, that's not Hemo. Is this Hemo? They all look the same, but Hemo is Hemo.
And I don't even know, like, where she came up with that name for that stuffed animal.
And then there's Girl Hemo.
He met. So what happened after that night?
You came back around 2 or 3 in the morning with just enough clothes for that road trip, I remember.
What time did you leave the house?
Honestly, I don't remember what time I left the house, but what had happened, so it wasn't just enough clothes for the trip. He was so upset that laundry wasn't going to be done before I left and that he was incapable of doing any sort of laundry or taking anything to the laundromat because that wasn't his job.
His job?
Yes, it wasn't his job to do the laundry and to make sure that he had clean clothes. It was my job and my responsibility. And to even contemplate that I was going to leave town without the laundry being complete, I had to take everything to the laundromat and wash it. And the lady who owned the laundromat or that takes care of it or whatever in Burleson.
It's the one next to Fast Taco.
Yeah, it's that laundromat behind Fast Taco. She was like, and I was the last one there. And I didn't know that laundromat had hours to it, but it did. And she was like, oh no, you're good. She was like, just don't leave. And when you do leave, just make sure you, like, she gave me how to check the door and make sure it was locked. She was super sweet to me that evening. I don't know if she was sent by God or she could read it all over my face or could feel my heart and soul, but she let me stay and finish the laundry that night. And then when I came home, it wasn't you. What you guys didn't know is that, yeah, I got home at 2 or 3. I probably got home at closer to 2. And then I put away and folded all of the laundry. And then I packed all of your bags. I went to bed at 4 and we got up at 6.
And we hit the road.
Yeah. Because I had made a promise to y'all that we were leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was willing to do whatever it took to get the laundry done.
I think we actually left a day later.
We did have to leave a day later.
Because we were supposed to leave. We left on Saturday, right?
We were supposed to leave Friday.
Yeah, we were supposed to leave Friday.
Yeah.
Dude, that weekend was packed.
Oh my
God, we did so much.
It was fun though. Yeah. So yeah, but
yeah.
So when they say the Loonies,
that's their actual last name.
Teresa, which was on a previous podcast.
Yeah.
Me and
that
her
has been recorded on this channel.
Me and her daughter Katie played soccer when we were
3 and 4.
Yeah. Who was 3 and who was 4?
Katie was 3. You were 4. You were a year older.
Mm-hmm.
Katie was put on. Katie played up. I don't know why, but she did.
I sucked at soccer.
So did she.
That's how.
But we made you play another 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Remember the stuffed animal dogs?
I hated that thing.
Oh my God. And then it's like, it's your turn to take care of the dog.
Yeah, it's like you won the award, and then whoever won the award was excited, and then the rest of us had to explain to our kid who was crying why they didn't earn the dog.
Remember the Loonies? They used to bring that pump spray bottle and they would spray us all.
Told you.
Well, it was in the podcast. They're like, no, it's not poison.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's not poison. It's just water.
Yeah, you remember?
Because we would complain how we were hot.
Yeah. And once Katie got hot, she wouldn't get back on the field.
I lost my earring one time on the field. My Hello Kitty one.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm. Actually, Teresa was changing my earring. She's like, don't lose the back. Don't lose the back. I lost the back.
You tell this kid not to do something, she's going to do it.
Honestly.
Literally like 2 seconds after, like I was like, oh, it'll stay on my hand if I shut it. And I opened my hand while it was like this. Bye-bye.
So that puts us in the time frame. Okay, so the camper is slowly deteriorating.
Oh my.
The camper is legit falling apart around us. So much so that when it rained, Haley would wake up
soaking wet. It got to the point where I would share my bed with her.
Because it wasn't that big of a deal, or it really wasn't leaking that bad, or whatever. And
Why
then
couldn't it be fixed?
And then it got to the point.
It stormed and stormed and stormed. It was one night.
It stormed and stormed and stormed and stormed. But then it got to the point where the camper was legit making y'all sick.
Mold.
Yeah. And me and Harley have really bad allergy asthma.
Yep.
Me and her would sit there coughing, hacking.
Couldn't clear it up.
No. And
so I shared a little bit of our story when that started happening on a Facebook page of the Lady Pros. And it's the Lady Pros that House Call Pro. And I'm one of the founding members of that group. I shared my story, and an amazing woman, Tabitha, blocked me out of the group and put together a fundraising campaign. And she raised the money. She raised the money for the handyman. She put together that campaign because I shared our story of how broken I was and how defeated I was because he wasn't going to allow the money for someone to come in and finish. And so she raised, I think it was about $6,000 for the handyman to come in. And the big push was to get y'all's room done. because I didn't care if I had to sleep on a floor. I didn't care.
I remember we slept on cots.
Mm-hmm.
We all.
But we got out of the camp. I was like, this camper is making like, I'm like, your books were destroyed, your toys were just like, we couldn't take
anything out of that camper.
We couldn't take anything out of the camper. It was that destroyed. Like blankets, pillows, like all of it had to be trashed. And
around that storming time, it was freezing outside. There'd be times where we would wake up and our lips would be blue.
There'd be times where the propane would run out at night. There'd be no propane, or I would wake up and he wouldn't be there and the water line was frozen to the camper. And we had no hot water or running water.
But he didn't care.
He wasn't there. Dad hasn't heard any of this.
Have I ever told y'all how I memorize footsteps?
You've told me.
Have I ever told you, Dad?
No.
Do you know why I memorize footsteps?
No.
So I know who's coming up behind me. I know your footsteps. I know her footsteps. I know Haley and Harley's footsteps. I know Manani and Poppy's footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
I even got to the point where I was memorizing the office people's footsteps. Just because of the simple fear fact I didn't know who would be coming to me. And
or what type of mood they're in.
Yes. And because of how the camper was, it would sound, if someone was going out the door, it sounded like they were coming to our room.
Yeah.
And if the propane was out, everyone shut up. One, so you didn't piss him off more. You didn't get something thrown at you. You wouldn't get a hand thrown at your face, but you would be warm.
Mm-hmm. And that was another one of my jobs, was to make sure that the propane bottles were filled.
I remember the place that was close to the Mansfield office.
Yeah. So
they're the cheapest.
I got to the point where I was out of time. Like, I was legit out of time between being a mom, making sure that the meals were cooked and cleaned, like and in the camper there's no dishwasher, so everything had to be washed by hand.
I feel like I tried to wash the dishes as much I could.
Yeah, and you did. And all of you girls have always pitched in phenomenally. And I don't know if that's, I don't know, and I'm not even going to fill that in. I don't know where that came from. I can just speculate. But I got to the point where the laundromat was no longer, and here's the other thing, is that I was scared to death that at the laundromat, that's where y'all were going to get abducted from. I don't know why.
Old men kept buying us ice cream.
Super weird. But I was scared to death that's where they were going to go up missing from. I mean, the laundromat is so close to 35. It's crazy. People are constantly in and out. You can't focus on your kids because you're switching laundry.
Yeah.
Your back is turned to the kids. Like, and you know me and exit points already. Like, I hated taking them to the laundromat. Not because they were bad kids. That wasn't it. It was the fear that they were going to go missing.
You were already living in so much fear.
Yeah. And I was scared. I was legit, pit of my stomach, scared that they were going to go missing, because I couldn't even go to the back, because, you know, everybody knows how laundromats are made. They're all made the same. Like, the exit is on the complete opposite side of where the dryers are. So I'm loading the dryers. And so I would make the kids get up. Okay, come. Like, I'm not asking y'all to switch laundry, but I need y'all to where I can at least put my eyes on you while I'm doing this.
I remember I kept picking up, what's it called? The dryer sheets, and I would put them on my face.
I'd be like, please stop.
Those aren't ours.
Yeah. Putting somebody's dirty dryer sheets on your face.
Yes. So it got to the point where I bought myself a little teeny tiny, it would hold 5 towels at a time, and it was a little portable washing machine. And
you hooked it up to the sink.
I did. I had a plumber come in to the office and connect a water hose spout underneath the sink in the bathroom, and then it would drain into the sink. And so it was, and you would plug it into the little 110 outlet, and it would wash our clothes. And so it would do 20-minute cycles, and it would hold 5 towels.
And we had a dryer.
I did have a dryer installed. Yeah. So I was able to order dryers are cheaper than washers, believe it or
Yes,
not.
they are.
So I was able to.
I don't know why that is.
I don't know why either.
Because they have a heating element in them. And
yeah. I don't
make
know.
much sense.
It doesn't to me either. But so I was able to get a super cheap dryer. And so I had the dryer installed at the office. And so I had a timer on my phone every 20 minutes while I'm working a full-time job. I would go switch a load of laundry. And so I would bring dirty laundry to work and I would take clean laundry home. It wasn't that I was always able to keep up with it.
Yeah.
But I was able to bring clean laundry home so that I wasn't in trouble for not doing laundry. And then it was my responsibility to check the propane tanks and to fill the propane tanks. And so I would take them across to the you could take your empties and they would fill them. I don't know what a fill station, I guess.
Yeah.
But that was my responsibility. And so I would lift the heavy ass propane because it wasn't like the
old men
they're the big ones.
Yeah.
The old men would help you get it out.
Yeah.
The trunk if it was that certain guy.
Yeah. But I felt bad because he could barely walk.
I know.
Sweet family though. They were always super nice. But yeah, I filled tons of propane. Because here's the deal, the hot water heater ran off propane. So even if it wasn't cold outside, if you didn't have propane, you didn't have hot water.
showers.
Yep.
15 showers every 15 minutes. Your shower was 3 minutes long and you had to space them out 15 minutes at a time because it took that long to heat that tank of water.
A little bitty 5-gallon.
Yeah. Yep.
Water heater.
Yes. And so you had to time washing dishes and showers every single night. We got really good at the rhythm of it because we knew when he wanted to take a shower. And so we had to be done by the time he was going to take one.
Yeah.
And so there were many times where I just didn't. Just wasn't.
Same. Honestly. It was like Haley and Harley are going to take a shower. I was like, I'll take one in the morning.
Yeah. And do you remember remember the tub that I bought to put in the shower? Harley got a really, 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 oh my God, it was so bad. She got the worst diaper rash I have ever seen. And it was really hard to get her clean in the shower. It's really, when they're that little, they need a bath. And so I got a little plastic, storage tub, that you would just you organize one of those and I could fill that with water. And that's what I bathed her in to help clear up her diaper rash because it was so bad and she was in so much pain. Yeah. And so then Tabitha did the fundraiser. We were able to get a handyman. And I gave the handyman all of that money. And he finished up the drywall. And he finished
plumbing.
That was another plumbing company that we had come in.
Oh. Oh yeah, we had working water before he got there.
Yes.
So he could shower.
Not in the house because there were no walls.
I thought he showered.
But there was no hot water heater either. So all of that got finished all at the same time, the hot water heater and then the insulation and the drywall and then the paint. So then there's Sabrina is her name. She came from Austin to help me paint. She was part of the Lady Pro group and came up. It was 2 days, if a day or if not 2 days. She legit came and she helped me paint and clean y'all's entire room so that we could get y'all out of the camper. And I work side by side with a handyman.
I remember you learned how to wire.
Yeah. Wire, sheetrock, texture, paint.
Everything.
I did it all. But nothing at the same time.
Depends on the person you're talking to.
That's the word, Big Bird. Yeah. So, and then we moved out of the camper. And then we slowly finished the house. So when we moved into the house, it didn't have a kitchen. Didn't have countertops, didn't have appliances like dishwasher, microwave, oven, any of that. We ran out of money and my father felt sorry for us. And so he purchased the microwave and stove and all that stuff that were in the property.
You good over there?
Yeah, I got it.
You having mic issues?
Yeah, because I adjusted myself because my back was hurting.
Yeah, I'm telling you that corner is not.
Yeah.
No, but my back's been hurting for a while. I need to go get adjusted. Okay. So
you guys are into the house.
Yeah.
With 2 bedrooms.
Yes, it's 990 square feet.
Not really a house.
Nope.
It's literally just 2 bedrooms.
2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a small kitchen, a little
But the
living
kitchen's
room.
not put together.
Nope.
The fridge, you have to walk out to the garage.
Yeah, so the fridge wasn't even in the house. The fridge was next to the washer and dryer in the garage.
A beer fridge?
No.
We had a beer fridge.
There was a beer fridge.
And we had...
But the actual like food fridge was not located in the kitchen.
It was from GG and Pop.
Yes. So yeah, he didn't purchase a fridge either. And the fridge that he did purchase was $100, and I was not going to put food in it. My grandparents felt sorry for us, and they donated us their fridge.
Because they were moving at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that was when we were moving them into the old people prison.
No, they think they were going to Washington or something.
They
at the
were
time.
moving to Arizona or wherever.
But instead of selling the fridge, they
gave it to us
because they felt sorry for our situation.
So time out.
Yep.
So I can catch up timeline-wise.
Mm-hmm.
What year are we in? 21?
No.
Oh, 2019.
19?
I feel like this is 18.
18, 19.
Yeah, 18, 19, somewhere in there. Yep.
And then... Okay. So... We're in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like nothing... Not that I can remember anything happened to me.
What do you mean?
I know I got really sick when we first moved in.
Mm-hmm.
Because you kept waking me up to do breathing treatments.
Well, yeah, you guys were just getting over that, like, you and Harley both were so sick from the mold in that camper. So sick.
He would yell at me to shut up when I was coughing.
You have got to be kidding me.
Because we were on the cots and air mattresses.
Yes.
In the dividers. Or, like, the cubicles.
Yeah.
The cubicles.
Yeah.
We were in the kids were in the one underneath the stairs. Y'all were the one close to the door.
Mm-hmm.
And that room echoed.
Mm-hmm.
And I cough all the time when I'm sick like that.
Well, yeah, you actually ended up having
Pneumonia. And I had to get those shots. I don't want those shots again.
Should have get the butts in your shot.
Oh my God. Oh, it was so bad.
You got butts in your shot?
When did I say that?
The last time you got butts in your shot?
No, because I got shot to my arm and I was like, oh my God,
yeah.
that feels like the shots I got in my butt. But I said the butts in my shot.
Yeah. Yeah. You ended up getting Rocephin, which is a super, super strong antibiotic, which is given by injection. And
in your butt cheeks.
And they give it to you in your, in the good meaty part. Yeah. But in order to mix the injection, they mix it with lidocaine because it's that thick and it hurts that much. And it takes a good while. They put it on like a vibrator mixer when they mix the vial. Yeah. And the only reason I know this is because I actually
worked there.
And I used to be an x-ray technician and a lab technician. And so I would watch, you're just back there. Like that's just part of it. And so I'm very inquisitive. I'm like, what are you mixing? What is this? But yeah, Rocephin is a very strong antibiotic. And for children of her age, when she got it, they actually split it into 2 doses.
They put them in both of my butt cheeks.
Yes. And I think you actually even got a steroid injection and a breathing. Like you were super sick.
And I had to have nurses hold me down.
Yeah.
You had to hold my head. One nurse. So that's 5 people.
Yeah.
I was like, no shots in my butt, please.
And they said, just go down. Yeah. You were super sick. So
Yeah.
you had pneumonia. And we were able to get over that.
And
which is how I know that if we are in an environment that has mold, because it literally starts taking it takes hours for them to start coughing or sniffling.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like how sensitive they are to that, the mold component. So we're moved in. Eventually we're able to move our stuff into our room, get us to our stuff settled in. And then what?
I don't know.
You don't know?
This is your show.
I know. Get settled in.
So let's fast forward to 7th grade then.
Yeah. Because 7th grade, we were moved into the house.
Yeah, so we were able to move in Memorial Day, and then we had all summer, and then you started 7th grade.
I feel like 7th grade started out good. And then I feel like my friends had friends who were like not good people. And then my grades went down fast.
Okay.
Is that because you were skipping school or for what?
Oh
reason?
no, my attendance was perfect in middle school. Let me tell you.
She knew how to go to class.
I did. I just didn't know how to do my work.
But you did. You were just bragging about your grades.
No, 6th grade.
6th grade. 6th grade, I showed up. I had 2 absences, and it was because I was sick. Now look at me now. I got 96. And about one of those is because I was sick.
Honest.
It's nothing to brag about.
Oh, no, it just helps my confidence level.
Why?
Because I have 96 absences. I don't want to make myself feel like a failure. So I say I have 96 absences. You want to know how many Chloe has? You want to know? You want to know? 102.
Y'all in a race for first?
I'm in second.
You ain't first, you last.
You know what's funny? If they caught like so many people skipping, they would say, I don't know what to do with you. So like the thing was you'd have to get in like a big group of people, and then they'd be like, oh, and then you could like be like, I'm Frankie Schneider, and be like, okay, you can go back to class. So sometimes I lied about my name.
What was your name?
Hannah Street, because she was in one of my classes.
So you were counted as a double person, but not yourself.
What do you mean?
You were counted there for the day, but not for...
Oh, if they caught me skipping, I would give them a different name so they wouldn't call y'all. I'm sorry, Hannah Street.
Is this new information to you?
Nothing's new anymore.
Fresh?
No. I mean, we're going to alternative high school for a reason.
I'm gonna graduate though.
So 7th grade, I feel like is going along really well. And I'm in
sarcasm.
I'm in McKinney, I feel like.
No, that's 8th grade. 8th grade. Don't fast forward. I know where you're going.
Grade?
It was 8th grade, and you were in Plano, and you were so angry. You were so angry.
Well, you know the story. Tell it.
Let's finish 7th grade. What happened in 7th grade?
7th grade, I went to Innovations again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was mental health treatment number 2.
Yeah. For the same reason, suicide attempt.
Yes.
Except the police department showed up at the house telling you.
What did you try to do?
Hang myself.
Where?
The police department showed up to tell me?
Uh-huh. Police department showed up at the house.
Where was everybody at home?
Is that because you used a district computer?
Mm-hmm. To tell my friend I was doing it.
That's right.
Yeah. Do you know the railing
At the barn?
at the barn dominium?
I cannot confirm nor deny.
And the kids' room.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
There's, from the loft on top, there's railing. And
It was a really secure metal, red iron railing.
It was very secure.
Very.
That's where I tried to hang myself from.
Yep.
Anyways, fast forward to the fun story.
No, hang on. What was your reason this time?
I really, to be honest, it was like, maybe the first time wasn't my time.
The dog moved in his kennel.
I was like, maybe the first time wasn't my time. Maybe this time is. You know, I'm being screamed at that I'm a failure. You remember in the garden?
These two stories don't go together.
Sorry, my brain.
No, I know. I know what you're going at, but I'm trying to keep you on timeline.
Okay. So pretty much, like, I was just being screamed at for being a failure. My grades weren't picture perfect. What happened to you? You were so good last year. This, and that. Why can't you be like Haley and Harley?
Where was this coming from?
Bio dad.
Why can't you be like Haley and Harley? Aren't you yourself?
Yeah, but he doesn't like differences. He wants everybody to be. Also, it also had to do with the body shaming.
Can you explain that?
There would be times where I would be sitting on the couch after school because I had a really early lunch. I had like an 11:30 lunch, and I didn't get out till like almost 4. And I would be sitting on the couch eating a snack, a small snack because dinner's about to be ready. And mom makes some bussin' food, so I'm about to eat her food, right? And he comes in the door, and I'm sitting in the couch. I'm sitting on the couch that's facing the door, not the TV, because that's where I always sat. I don't know why. That's just where I always ended up sitting because I
think it's because you could see from where that couch was. You could see
everything.
You could see the TV. You could see the kitchen. You could see it all from that particular couch.
Yeah. So I would be sitting there, and he would just come blazing in. And the first person he sees is the first person he attacks. And it happened way too often. And he would just like get it out of my hands. Be like, you just eat too much. You're gaining weight. I can tell. He used to make me run laps in the rain with no shoes on. And then if I stopped, he would beat me. There was times where my feet were bloody because I stepped on branches. It's a dirty, branchy field. I had to run the tree line. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And so what were you doing to run interference on this?
Trying to keep him as calm as possible. And I'll tell you, I stood between him and her many times. There were many times I told him to get his shit together and get his shit and get the fuck out. And I'll be damned if you speak to my child that way. But I knew that had repercussions for myself.
Yeah.
But there were also 2 other little ones inside that were 5 years younger than her at the time. I mean, they are still 5 years. 5 years and 7 years younger than her. And I'm just trying to finish dinner, keep them in their room, quiet, not arguing, not creating a friction point, doing something that's not drawing attention to them. I had my own tasks I had to do. Like, I was a shitty parent in that aspect. Like,
no,
100%.
I think you were told what your place was, and you had to do certain things. And at the same time, I feel like you were probably, and I'm assuming, you were probably doing whatever you could do to create a distraction between the 2 places.
Yeah. Yep. So then what?
I remember I started to, it's because it was raining and I feel like it was coldish outside. And when I run outside, when it's cold, my lungs are just like, peace.
Yeah.
It always happened with that in track.
You're an asthmatic.
I am. And I stopped and I just couldn't breathe. And he comes out on the side patio with the belt wrapped around his hand. And he was like, so you ready for this now? And you stood like behind him, but kind of on the side to where me and you could have eye contact. And the eye contact me and you locked kind of said, Hannah, run. Like, run down that driveway and get out. Sometimes I wish I would have.
There were times that you did.
I did, but apparently I'm a messed up human for doing that.
Yeah.
Apparently the law doesn't work.
I'm sorry, I'm just like really uncomfortable. I feel like there's like an elephant sitting on my chest. And I don't say yeah because I agree with what you're saying. I say yeah because
you're listening.
A response is indicated and a response is needed. I just don't have one.
Do you guys want to stop? We can stop.
I'm okay. I'm just being honest about how I feel. I mean, these are the terrors and the glimpses and the shit that I relive in the middle of the night.
Same.
Well, quite often it's just not the middle of the night. It's every trigger that you and I have talked about. And so the belt comes out.
I know. It's a weird cry. It's a weird release because it's not pain that you live in. It's like a trauma bond release. Yeah. It's like an uncontrolled weeping of your soul. No one's ever going to be able to repair that. No one's ever going to be able to fill that part of your soul.
He was working on his side by side.
Which one?
The blue one. The one he had to zip tie together that one time when we were with the neighbors.
Oh, that one's been eons ago. Okay.
That one. And I would have to hold on to the metal. Mom, he beat me, my back, my legs, anywhere where it hit. And then if I blocked a place he was hitting, he would just add more.
And the purpose of this was to correct the behavior. And he got this advice
from a CPS worker
who told him how to ride the lines of discipline.
He actually said that to me.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I know the lines, and I'm going to continue to ride them.
Yes.
As he was beating me.
Yes.
This is someone that he knows?
Yes. For years.
Yeah.
This is a female?
Female, yes.
And after the beatings would no longer work to change the behavior.
This is also a mother, right?
She is. And when the beatings no longer could correct the behavior, the next phone call that he made was to CPS, to this same person, to ask what steps did he need to take to give up his rights to this child. And you went to your third, if not fourth facility at this point. We went
I think I was in RTC at that time.
You were in an overnight program somewhere.
What was the reasoning for this?
I was out of control.
Yes.
In what shape or form?
She couldn't be controlled by his behavior. She was speaking out and speaking up. And so she went to her, I can't remember if this was third or fourth program. We put her in a program. He said, let's load up and go out of town. Let's get a mind frame going. And I said, okay. So we loaded up ATVs. We went out of town. And the whole conversation while we were driving was me trying to convince him that he was going to regret signing over his rights to the state of the child because he did not use every ounce that was available to him. And he was said word for word, I do not want to invest in a child that I do not know that I'm going to get my investment back. He did not want to pay for another treatment. He did not want to pay for a boarding school. He did not want to pay for anything with any money at all. So The whole entire drive was me convincing him not to give up and to not sign over his rights, to not give you to the state. And I couldn't convince him. So I stopped trying to convince him and started trying to find answers on my own. And I started researching girls' programs. I started researching boarding schools. I tried researching, how do you get this paid for? Is there a grant for this? If it's that, if it's this. So ultimately, and her 8th grade year comes into play in this conversation. But ultimately, I was able to convince him to do one last try. And now we are in 2021. And I convince him to do, and by this time, and forgive me, Hannah, because there's so many times and so many programs that you went to that I can't remember the timeline on. But I know that you went to one in Waco. I know that you went to
I can tell you which is which.
You went two times in Burleson. You went 2 times to Innovation, 3 times to Innovations.
No, I only went 2.
You only went 2 times?
Mm-hmm.
I thought
because I went to Excel.
Oh, okay.
Remember?
Yeah. So we had done mental health treatment after mental health treatment after mental health treatment. I was actively taking you to therapists. I was actively getting your medications refilled. I was keeping you at all of your appointments that they kept telling me to take you to. There was not an appointment that I missed taking you to.
But there's not an appointment that I needed.
And I understand that now.
I think I may need that ADHD medicine again. But
yeah, that's different. So yeah. So ultimately I was able to convince him to pay for a boarding school. And the way of which I was getting him to convince was we could do a home equity line of credit. And we could use half the money for Hannah's tuition and we could do the expansion on the barndominium. And so we took out a home equity line of credit of $178,000, some of which paid off the land because we had to buy the land in order to build. We paid cash for the barn that was there, but the land we had a payment on. So we took the home equity line of credit, we paid off the land, and then the rest of that was to pay for the expansion and for your boarding school. And so we get you to boarding school. We get you dropped off. We start the expansion on the house. I made the call. I filled out the paperwork. I mean, the only thing he did was went with us for the drive.
You picked me up from a facility and we drove straight to Missouri.
Yes. Yes, yes. I forgot that step. Yeah. So we packed. So I had got the packing list from the facility because it was a Pentecostal facility, and Pentecostals have a very strict dress code, even when visiting.
Don't remind me. So bad.
Very strict dress code. So a lot of your street clothes couldn't go with you, which I get.
I barely got to wear pajama pants.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the thing. So we drove you up there, dropped you off, and I finally had a sigh of relief that you were safe.
Yeah.
Because they were all about getting you off of your meds. And I liked the idea that they were going to try and give you somewhat of coping mechanisms for life without the medications.
Yeah.
So you were in a safe place, off of your medications. And I was like, okay, I can breathe. And that was, I feel like it was May.
It was May.
So May of 2021.
I got there May 14th.
Of 2021. And right before you left, we lost Muggs. We put Muggs down.
We did.
That was really hard.
I grew up with Muggs. I grew up riding her.
Muggs spent a lot of closet time with me.
Yeah.
So right before you left, we put Muggs down. And then you were gone at the boarding facility. And August 21st of 2021, I decided I had had enough. And having you in a facility that I knew you were safe at had a lot to do with me making that decision. So had you not gone to boarding school, I feel like I still
would have stuck with it.
Yeah. So, and then when I left, he took $44,000 cash out of the bank account and stopped paying your tuition. So I struggled to pay an attorney, pay portions of your boarding school fees. I left the house because I wasn't safe living in the house. He wouldn't let me stay there. Thank you. I couldn't stay at the house, so I left the house.
Stayed at a bougie hotel.
For a short time.
I'm jealous. Haley talks about the Starbucks that was downstairs.
Yeah.
And the valet that opens your door.
Yeah, they got to know me. Will you be back? Yes, I will. I'll see you this afternoon. Thank you. Super sweet people. But that didn't last long. So, as unfortunate as boarding school was
for me,
for everyone.
Why was it so unfortunate? The payments?
No. It obviously wasn't about the money. Like, I was willing to obviously get a loan.
Yeah.
So the barn dominium was actually financed in my name because he didn't want to do the work to get it financed. So
that did pay off in your favor, though.
So he ended up, for the year and 9 months that our divorce took, he did lots of shit, like not pay property taxes, pay bills late, all of which didn't affect him at all. Did nothing but affect me, drag me down, would only make partial payments to the home equity line of credit. Like, just stupid shit. Just stupid stuff. And I'm trying to hold it together with what I've got. He's only paying $725 a month for rent, and I'm paying $2,250 for an apartment.
Yeah.
And still paying Hannah's tuition and sending her all the needs and stuff that she's got, like requests from phone calls and things that you need, because they don't provide shampoo, conditioner, body wash, razors, deodorant, anything. Yeah. Like, all of that is extra, and it is not covered in tuition. In tuition,
and then you got to get it there.
Yeah, then you still have to mail it there. So I feel like, if memory serves me correctly, monthly tuition was like $5,200 a month. So my rent, my utilities, $5,200 a month for school. No funds at all. All that money's gone. It's a no wonder you can fucking buy a boat, right?
Yeah, I mean, you would have had to make at least $12,000 to $15,000 just so you can survive.
Yeah, exactly. So no child support, no assistance,
which
no
you're
help.
Still not getting, by the way.
Yeah. So yeah. So Hannah's at boarding school. I am like bound and determined. I'm like, I'm getting my feet underneath me. Like, I have to get my feet underneath me for this child, because she's going to come home at some point. And so I even had the forethought of going, okay, if I sign my lease now and it's 6 months, that's about the time that she will be there a year, because it was a year minimum commitment for the boarding school that you had to sign. And so I was like, okay, so at a minimum, she should be coming home, or even being talked about coming home. So I'm either going to need to find a different place to live, like whatever. So I signed a 6-month lease.
Yeah.
With the forethought of like, I've got to be able to plan for what my next move is to bring her home. And during that time, you and I met each other. And
I know, I met him when he was skinny.
What you trying to say?
You fluffy. You call me fluffy in a picture, don't lie.
In what picture?
When I was holding Miles, you're like, you look fluffy.
That's a Polaroid camera.
You still said I look fluffy.
So to that fluffy comment, I want to address what you had said about the eating of the food. You were also on medications that, like,
caused that.
Huh?
It's a side effect.
It's a side effect. Like they suppressed your appetite, and then when the meds would wear off in the evening, your appetite would ramp up.
Get hungry,
Yeah.
and then you would go to sleep,
But-
and then your body stores food.
Yeah.
The thing is, I really was not gaining weight. When I went into boarding school, I was less than 100 pounds, and I'm barely 100 pounds right now.
Yeah.
I was around 85, 90. Do you want me to go make you some coffee?
No, I just was wondering if I drank it all. Well, and he would try and come to me and be like, "Are you going to talk to her about that?" No.
So
No, I'm not.
I'll speak to this. So much so that all three of them struggled for a long time whenever I came into the picture to eat, period.
I agree.
Like,
Now I eat like a cow.
No, you do not.
So much.
I love to cook,
Yes.
so I always cook, right? And I always cook for an army.
You make some bomb stir fry.
Oh
like
my
that
god, the
stir-fry?
stir fry is so good.
the stir fry. So good. So good.
Is that the only thing you like?
Mm-hmm.
No, I like the steaks.
Okay, if they're Wagyu steaks, I'll eat them. But if you're going to get the $5 steak that Mom got at Kroger yesterday.
It wasn't $5 steak. It was
It's
$9 roast. I bought $5 pork chops.
Yeah, get it straight.
Okay, anyways, continue your story.
Anyhow,
You cook for an army.
So yeah, I meet these three girls. Well, two of them at first.
You met me on a visit.
I did meet you on a visit, and you didn't like. We got so much snack food, and you hardly ate even at that visit. But yeah, I could tell right off that there was something off. These girls are tiny, teeny tiny.
But their mama be fluffy.
Mm-hmm. I'm just kidding.
Not when I met her.
I was big. I even hate how big I am now, but anyways.
How big you is now?
125. A buck 250.
That's how much, that was your goal, Mom. That was literally your goal.
I know, but the day I found out I was pregnant, I was 119. I'd like to go back to that, please.
Stop eating sushi at 12 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, anyways.
Y'all talking. Y'all are getting on each other about eating. Goodness.
Like, what is this? Like,
Stop.
Can you continue your story so Mom...
No, I can't. Y'all are distracting me.
my bad.
Can you sit normal?
I can't. It's the ADD.
Is the ad?
The ADD baby.
Okay, continue your story before you forget.
I'm trying to, but y'all keep interrupting.
Okay, we're teeny tiny. Something's up with us.
Yes, something's definitely going on. And I could put my finger on it, so I finally asked the question. Which is when a lot of our conversation started.
Yeah. I wanted to hide as much from you as possible because I wanted to forget as much as possible.
Yes and no. You wanted to hide some things, but not necessarily hide some things.
Yeah. I was open about what happened to me, but I was not willing to tell you about the children.
No. Why is that?
Protection of them. Guarding of them. Like, in maybe...
The simple fact that you were able to. Like, you were actually able to guard us.
Yeah.
And protect us with him.
Yeah. Not that it was the right mindset, but...
So you had him served, you said on August 21st?
No, that's the day I left. I don't think I actually had him served until like September or some shit. I don't know. It was a while.
You filed. You left.
I did. It was me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, so that, or Hannah's first visit, because I think you had to go 3 months or something.
Every 3 months.
Every 3 months. we went and had her first visit. We did it together but separate.
And I knew something was up when they both pulled up.
Yeah, because we didn't take the same vehicle. Like I'm not riding with you. So fun fact, you guys all know how you got COVID after he left? He had COVID when he went.
He had COVID, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very aware.
So he brought it
and
up
also,
there
guess
and
who got COVID the worst over there?
You did.
I did, because I'm an asthmatic.
Yep. Yeah, he took COVID to the
boarding school.
This is when COVID was just hitting.
Oh, yeah, it was just kicking off.
I had it really bad.
Well, no.
Or was this the second round?
This was 2021. So this was like the second round. Like we were still in masks, but they were allowing visits. So the school was open, but you had to wear masks.
We also had, after our visit, there was another visit and then another visit.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of in and out for us.
Yeah. And then Christmas, I went to visit you and I made Christmas happen.
You couldn't do Christmas Day, but you did Christmas Eve and the day before Christmas Eve.
So the 23rd and the 24th. They wouldn't allow a Christmas visit.
Because that's rude to other
It's rude to other kids. And
so did you guys go together?
No, I went by myself. I rented a cabin in the middle of nowhere. I pulled up and I was like, this is where I die. This is it. With my other two kids.
Yeah, it was really sketch.
Oh yeah. I was like, yeah. And this is the Blair Witch Project.
She said, is this the turn or is that the turn? Because it split off into the woods.
Like, take a left on W, take a right on Y.
Yeah.
Take another right
Z.
on XY.
Yeah.
And hopefully an 18-wheeler doesn't kill you up on this hill.
No kidding.
That's hauling logs. Yeah. So no, me and the girls rented a tiny cabin. And that was our Christmas. And Christmas was very, very, very sparse. I mean, to the point where I only could afford to buy, I have a picture of it on my phone because I wanted to remember that it was never going to be like that again. And I wanted to remember where I came from, which is why last Christmas was like a blowout.
Oh my God.
But legit, they got socks, tennis shoes, and PJs. That was it.
You did what you could.
Oh, I know. It just hurts. Because he wasn't struggling.
Nor is he.
Right.
Get your feet out of the shot.
I can't help it.
I wasn't talking to you. He has big feet.
He just has long legs.
He has long feet.
He's a big man.
Elongated feet and toes.
So we went to go see you. And I remember you sitting on the couch. And Haley was at the back door. And you said, so Mom, what do you think you got out of the divorce? And Haley being Haley.
She whipped around.
Oh, she popped around. She was like, at like a breakneck speed, man. Do you remember what she said?
Something about how happy you were.
She goes, are you kidding me? Have you ever seen Mom this happy? Mom got Mom. And she was 9 at the time. Or no, 12. She was 10 at the time.
I remember that visit. Haley wouldn't get out of the tree. And I was like, get out of the tree. It's creaking. She was like, it's fine, YOLO. And I was like, Haley, I could see it snapping.
Yeah. But she's an outside kid. And the weather was semi-decent for Missouri for being Christmas. It wasn't brutally cold. It was pretty decent. But yeah. So we got 2 days with you. And then we headed home. Dropped you back off. That was just a day visit. So we had you for the day and then we had to return you that night.
You picked me up the time you could pick me up and you dropped me off the latest you could drop me off.
Yes.
You wanna know what he did? He picked me up the first day around 2:30, dropped me off around 5:30.
And who'd he come with?
Marcy and Joni.
Which are?
His sisters. Marcy's dead now. R.I.P.
This kid thinks he's a street thug, man. So, how'd that visit go?
I was very fake. Like, I didn't really talk.
How opinionated was the sister? Did that play a role at all?
Not because Marcy was there. She didn't say anything directly to me or to him that I heard, but I don't know.
Why did you feel like you have to be fake?
I don't know.
Did you feel safe?
Not necessarily. I was curling my hair and he yelled at me.
For what?
Because apparently in the rules you're not allowed to do your hair.
The rules stated you couldn't get a haircut.
Or hair dyed.
Right. But you're allowed to style your hair.
I know. I really looked at him and I said, okay. I just like went to bed and I was like, I'm not doing this. No siree. He got very annoying to deal with on that visit.
Why?
It was only, 3 hours?
Yeah. He passed out. Like, just sat there sleeping for a good 2 hours the first day.
Huh.
Oh, well, I've been driving all day. I'm so tired. And then he decided to kidnap my sisters on the next visit. My chin is itchy.
How'd that visit go?
I knew something was up. Haley and Harley didn't really know anything. But Bio Dad, kept asking, do you have your phone? Do you have a tablet? Do you have your Chromebook? If you do, can I have it? He just kept asking that question a lot. And me just being the observant person I am, neighbors kept calling. He had 2 phones at the time. The one that was under your phone, one under your name, and then the new one. So I was like, suspicious. And then Burleson PD is calling. Burleson PD called him. Went into his room. My room was on top of his, so I tried to hear, but I couldn't really, which sucked because I was trying to get all the tea, you know? Yeah. Yeah. But he definitely tried to act like nothing was going on, which he's very bad at doing.
So what was going on?
Can I say that?
Oh, you want to ask me?
Yeah, switch the camera.
I mean, so he decided, so there was no temporary order in place at this time in regards to custody schedule or anything with the children. Not that it would have mattered, knowing what I know now, it wouldn't have mattered. He was going to do whatever he wanted to do. He decided that he was mentally stable enough to take the children to Missouri, out of state, without notifying.
You say mentally stable enough. You didn't add the story to make sense of mentally stable enough. He needed his mommy to come save him.
I called his mom. I called his mom first, and then I called the male friend. I called the male friend to come. Yeah. So he Thanksgiving Day of 2021, he did not have a good day. And he called me to pick up the girls because the girls had spent Thanksgiving Day with him. And that is the day that all 4 women that he was dating found out about each other. And his world came crashing down. And he blamed me for reaching out to the women when that wasn't the case. One of the exes actually reached out to me and said, I've got a lot of questions. And I said, ask away.
Yeah.
You got questions? Sure, ask. And she did all the digging and figured out how many there were.
Yep.
And they all outed him at the same time, and that completely destroyed him. So he had a mental crisis. I don't know what to call it. I mean, I don't want to like miss accusatory of it or whatever. So he was in the fetal position when I got there, crying, unable to stand up. And so I called his mom and I called his man friend And I said, this is no longer my responsibility. I should have called the authorities looking back on it, but that's just, me trying to protect who he was because that's the type of person that I am. And so I called his mom and said, she goes, "Oh, it's so good to hear from you. How are you?" And I said, "Hi, don't ask me any questions, but I need you to get here and I need you to get here now." And she goes, "Where is here?" I said, "You need to get to the barn." She said, "I'm on my way." And she was further away than the friend. And so I called the friend and I said, you need to get here and wait while his mother gets here. And I then put the girls in the Jeep. And I said, this is who's expected to come. This is who's expected to show up. Wait here. Here is my phone. I will be back. Because they didn't need to see their dad that way. That's no a thing no child should need to see.
Nope.
I didn't want. And at that point, that's honestly, that's the last conversation that he's ever had with me was that day. Was Thanksgiving Day of 2021 is the last time that we were able to have a conversation.
Face to face
or even over the phone. But I felt like I did him a lot of dignity that day. And I sure as hell don't deserve the way of which I've been treated now. For sure. But I know that it won't change.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. But yeah, so he had a really bad day. And then the bad day continued for like probably a week. And then he made some claims of, I'm going to go to a mental health facility. Oh, I'm not going to go to a mental health facility. And then I became the world's worst person in the world. And I've been hated and treated like I am Satan's sister. So yeah, he felt mentally stable enough to remove the children from the state to go visit you without telling me. And I went to the house looking for your sisters, went to the barn looking for your sisters because there was no order stating that I didn't have to be there. And there was no order. So the sheriff's department showed up because I was there and he was pissed that I was there and wanted me gone. And the sheriff's department said, well, do you have an order in place that says you can't be here? No, there's not an order in place. He goes, there's not one filed either. And so they told him that if he wanted me gone, that he would have to come back. Well, obviously he states away and that's not going to happen. So I started removing items from the home that were mine. And because there was no order in place, I could do that. And that pissed him off. That incredibly pissed him off. And he hated that because I showed a shit ton of authority in that aspect. And then I changed the locks on the house. And he was pissed.
Can I add something I witnessed?
Sure.
I don't know when this was. I really don't know. You were in your working out era for the third time. And
it's because I got sick and tired of the comments of how big I was.
But he's really into big women. Just saying. Anyways, back on topic. Before I piss him off. I probably already have.
What? Oh, darn.
Oh, darn.
Oh, darn. Well, and okay, so talk about the 4th of July car ride home and then also talk about the incident that you're fixing to talk about.
4th of July. Let me explain the situation. So, 4th of July, so many people gather. People who know people who know people that don't know you, that know you. People. Say around 250 people show up at the Alvarado Lake at the Orlando property. There's music, barbecue, everybody gets drunk, and then everybody drives home. Well, at the end of the barbecue, everybody who is a veteran or married to a veteran stands at the front. And everybody honors the veterans. Well, one of the veterans that had passed, James had a connection to.
Mm-hmm.
And it sent him into a mental breakdown. Patting his back.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
Sorry, you pointed. Yeah.
So then?
I remember going up to him and I was like, "Are you okay?" And he just couldn't speak. And I did that several times throughout the evening. And then we all got gathered back up. I think it was after fireworks. Because we weren't with him for fireworks. We were with Jacob. Because Jacob held Harley while there's fireworks. And so after fireworks, everybody gathered up and was like, okay, let's go home. Well, I can hear that.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's my eyeball.
The car ride home, he was obviously intoxicated. And there was a lot of screaming from one side. And that was the driver's side of the car, James. He was screaming at my mom, saying, you just can't do enough. How are you just going to leave me in that mental state? I look over the horizon where I needed you and you weren't there. Just going back and forth. How he needed her. How he needed you to be there. Just the entire car ride home.
And to that, he was intoxicated, but I was not allowed to drive.
Yes. Every time he was intoxicated at those type of events, he was the only one that could drive.
Did I ever consume alcohol at the same time he did?
No. I actually never saw you consume alcohol at those events.
And there were other children?
In the backseat.
Haley and Harley.
All three of you?
Yeah.
All three of us.
Onto the sofa.
Okay. He went to the bar with his friends. And those nights are the best nights of my life when I lived over there. It was me, mom, and sisters. Mom said, I'm going to order pizza. What do y'all want? Oh, y'all want a shipped ice cream? Shipped was the shit. I'm telling you, Mom used it all the time. Okay, but we had ice cream, pizza. We were having fun. And then Mom was like, I'm going to go on a walk. It feels nice outside. I'm going to go on a walk. I was like, okay, I'll be at home with Haley and Hartley. Well, guess who comes blazing in? Mom sees his truck pull in the driveway. Doesn't really think anything about it until I run out to her down in the cul-de-sac. I actually ran out there twice. The first time I couldn't find you. The second time I contained him and then I went out. He came home very, very, very drunk. Sat there spitting all over himself, throwing up all over the floor. So what I did is I said, Haley and Harley, please stay in here. I shut the door in the room. I said, please stay in here for at least 15-20 minutes. It won't be long. Please stay in here. And they said, okay, I'll do that. But can you tell me why? I was like, I'll tell you why after, knowing I'll be able to make some story up. And so I get all the spit cleaned up off the floor. I get him to the point where I don't know if he was in his... I think I told him to go in the room.
No, because by the time I got there, I was the one that was able to get him up off the sofa and to our bedroom.
Okay.
And then he sat on the end of the bed, which is the hope chest. And then that's where he vomited again from coming home. And then he looked at me and he goes, bitch, you better clean that up.
What he told me was, I don't know why I'm treating you like this. You've never done anything wrong. Have you ever heard the saying, drunk words are sober thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, at least you got kind, sober, drunk thoughts that night. I did not. So you came running out to me. So when she said I was out on a walk, it wasn't like I was far. We legit lived on a cul-de-sac. So I was just like circling. Didn't matter what part of the street I was on, I could still see the house or the driveway. Like I was in tune to what was going on.
Yeah.
I was not walking blocks and blocks away. I could still see the house, hear the kids in the driveway, bikes, scooters, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like I was far. And she probably couldn't see me because I was either
It
down
was
at the end
dark.
of the cul-de-sac or the sun was going down something, because we lived out in the country at that point, and so there was no street light on
Right.
that cul-de-sac. So that's what she's talking about. But yeah, so she comes and she's like, Mom, Mom. She's like frantic, like out of breath, shaking, like scared. Something is like
actually wrong.
She thought something was medically wrong with him, and that wasn't the case. So she cleans up the first vomiting incident in the living room. He vomits again in the bedroom. Says, bitch, you better clean that up. I grab my pillow and my blanket. I sleep on the couch. I close the door.
No. I remember what you told him. You told him, get your fucking shit together or you're not staying here tonight.
Sounds about right.
Because I remember you slammed the door and you just went off on him.
Oh, I remember.
You went off.
I remember.
I was like, ooh, it gets spicy.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I made him sleep. He cleaned up his own mess the next day. How are they going to clean it up? I was done.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So then, coming to the end of boarding school actually ends up closing. They're wrapping up shop. And so you actually get to come home. So the last time you've seen this person is...
James? Who? Who are you talking about?
Who we've been talking about this whole time?
Mimi's funeral.
Okay, so that's the last time you've seen him. But like...
Up to this point.
Up to this point, like...
Third visit? Which
would have been March of 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And then the funeral service that you went to was really...
It was for me.
Yeah. It was very minimal contact between you and him.
He still made his way to say how thankful he was for me to be there. And it just meant so much to him. And I said, yep. He said, I love you so much, Hannah. I said, yep. Literally to like everything he said, I said, yep. And walked off. Do you remember when he talked to me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was a very rough day for me.
Mm-hmm. To be expected. Yeah. So how do you feel about...
I never told my 8th grade story.
I'm cool with that. Plus the MacBook's about to die.
For real?
Yeah.
For real.
For real.
Oh.
Top right corner.
How do you feel about the custody orders now?
I had a say in where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And I'm very pissed off in a way.
Explain.
I spoke up to the judge and said...
So to be clear, I advocated and got her in front of the judge to give a sworn statement with the amicus, with me removed from the room. So I was not there. I do not know what was said. I do not know the conversation. I don't know any of it. But she got one-on-one time in chambers with the judge, with her attorney, her amicus attorney. So.
Yeah. I sat there and spoke to the judge and said everything that I just said now. And he said, well, if your dad really loved you, he wouldn't be fighting for your custody and your sister's custody. Oh, yeah, because that entire story just screams, I love you from a father.
So, what terms and conditions were you able to put in place?
I spoke and I said, I am not stepping foot into that house. Whether or not I am dragged through that door, I will not be willingly stepping into that household. He said, okay, have a good day.
So, what terms and conditions are written now?
I 100% live here. I wish I would have been able to say something for Haley. I very much tried, but I couldn't say what I witnessed from her eyes, which I really do not like. And I really Haley hates going over there. And I wish I could have said something that would have changed the judge's mind.
Yeah. And like, there are certain terms and conditions that you requested that we're able to get into
the agreement.
Do you know what they are?
No.
Talking about you asking for therapy.
I did say that, yeah. Which I just like to say, which he has not done.
Has he reached out to you in any shape or form?
No. My birthday's also, what time is it? Still 16 days away. Yeah. Last year for
Have you wrote him any letters?
Yeah.
Have you gotten any response out of those letters?
No.
Have you seen him recently?
No. Not since Mimi's funeral.
That's been a few months.
But you did see him there, which there was no communication there?
At the funeral?
Yeah.
He tried to talk to me. Well, he did talk to me.
There you go. So yeah, you get to decide when you see him, and then you're supposed to unblock him from your phone once you guys have been to a minimum of 2 therapy sessions.
That he has paid for.
Yes, he has to pay and initiate the therapy sessions, to which, and this, to be very clear, I did not come up with this.
No.
This is not something I came up with. I advocated for what you wanted.
You had a full-blown... You had written all of this out whenever I came to see you.
Yeah.
In Missouri.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, you pretty much set the terms of what it is that you were willing to do and what you wanted. And we advocated for that with the amicus and the judge and the attorneys so that you had a say-so in how you were interacted with. You wanted control of the situation, and we advocated for that control. And the control being, I am not willing to spend time with you unless you are willing to sit with me with a third party that is not your mother and not your ex-wife to talk some of this shit out.
But the thing is, he would have to admit everything.
Yes.
Admit every single part.
Yep.
Well, that's not going to happen.
No.
He willingly signed me over.
Yeah.
Because I was willing. If they was going to go to trial, I would take the stand.
Yes.
I was very willing, and I don't know if he made that clear or not. But I was very willing to stand up and be like,